With the population of 1.5 crore, Chennai, which is also referred to Gateway of South India, is the capital city of the South Indian state of Tamil Nadu. The two major rivers meander through this vibrant city located along the Coromandel coast of the Bay of Bengal, which are the Kuam River and the Adyar River, where Kuam originates from a village called Kuam in Tiruvallur district and Adyar originates near the Chebarambakkam lake in Kanchipuram district. The Chennai River Restoration Trust, also known as CRRT, is responsible for the development of the rivers in Chennai. It coordinates the work of various government departments, which includes the Public Works Department, the Greater Chennai Corporation, the Chennai Metropolitan Water Supply and Sewerage Board, and the Tamil Nadu Slum Clearance Board. Even after the formation of the CRRT and implementation of few projects, there has been no progress in the rehabilitation of rivers in Chennai. This is what an ex-PWD engineer from Water Resources Department had to say about the
In
situation of
south arm,
rivers in Chennai.
the area of the basin is 200 square miles, in which there are more than 200 tanks. In the north arm, the catchment area is 138 square miles, in which there are more than 200 tanks. From this, you can very well understand the density of the irrigation tanks which are available in Adyar basin. The main problem of pollution in the Adyar is due to the sewage which stagnates in the water bodies, that is in the irrigation tanks. Actually, in the south arm, the pollution starts even beyond Potheri, and from Potheri it goes on increasing. In all the irrigation tanks, the sewage water which is collected in the household is let into the stormwater drain, and the stormwater drain comes and joins the irrigation lakes which are in the basin. That way, all the pollutants enter the irrigation tanks. When once there is a heavy flood, all these pollutants come and join the Adyar river. Even in the case of north arm, we see the water crystal clear in Sembarambakam, but that may also contain some fecal matters only because of such pollutants entering the Sembarambakam lake also, but which is not visible to us now. If you take a sample and analyze, there may be some fecal matter or some other contaminants in the water. After the river enters the Chennai city, all the sewage entries or all the sewage collected in the city is connected with the river. For example, the Nasapakam treatment plant. Nasapakam treatment plant often breaks down and the entire sewage water is directly pumped, raw sewage is pumped into the river sometimes. Sometimes it is treated and let into the river, but how much, what is the standard of the effluent, we don't know. We have to take a sample and analyze. If it contains any objectionable matter or not, we have to see. That is directly pumped there. Here also in the Perugudi dump yard, Perugudi sewage treatment plant, whatever is treated, sometimes they are not treated, they are directly pumped to the swamp, Pallikarne swamp. That way, there are lot of sewage inlets in Adyar within the city limits, which is not plugged by the corporation or by the CMWSSB or by any other authority. If all these sewages are plugged, then only Adyar can become somewhat pure. Once the water in the river is flowing during October, November, December, soon after December you can see some purity in the flow in the river. But that is not happening now because of sewage always going through the Adyar river from lot of sewage inlet points throughout the length of the Adyar, and so many villages also, their entire water, sewage is collected in stormwater drain and directly let into the river, not only in the lakes also, but it is directly let into the river course by bringing a stormwater drain and connecting it to everybody knows that stormwater drain is not carrying only stormwater drain, it carries only sewage from the households. That way the river is completely polluted.
The main issue is that these two rivers meander sluggishly through the city, carrying sewage and dangerous pollutants. Despite the Greater Chennai's corporation efforts to clean up the river, certain areas of the river remain polluted owing primarily to sewerage. Each river has its own drains, where Adyar has 121 drains and Buckingham has 123 drains. These drains across the city come and fall into these three rivers. Over the past 3 decades, these rivers have been used as a dumping site not only for building debris but for municipal as well as industrial waste. Also, the general citizens are equally responsible for the pollution of these rivers. The Greater Chennai Corporation said that we have started the awareness programs regarding the improvement of the state of rivers. The main issue is the encroachments. The commercial centers near the rivers are also responsible for the poor state of rivers. The projects that have been implemented will take at least 1 year to complete. The coordination between Chennai Metro Water Supply and Sewerage Board is not up to the mark. Even after the development of CRRT, the projects that were supposed to be implemented for the development are yet to be started. The CRRT, CMWSSB, and the GCC are reluctant to address this issue openly. As per Greater Chennai Corporation, most of the work is channeled into the existing sewage board, and one of the works is to give site encroachments along the Coam River and Adyar Bridge. But there are few projects which is held up due to the encroachments. These are the issues that the board is dealing with in terms of improving the sewage and the state of river, and the work is expected to be completed only by 2024.
So in Chennai we have got 3 rivers. In the world, no other city has got 3 rivers. Okay. So for South Chennai we have Adyar. For Central Chennai there is Kuvam, and for North Chennai we have Kosastale River. So in these 3 rivers, 2 have already become dead rivers. So only the Kosastale River is the only live river in Chennai. So other 2 rivers have become dead river even before 20-25 years ago. So this has happened mainly because of 3 reasons. One is the untreated sewage is being dumped into the rivers directly, and the construction debris have been dumped, and also the industrial effluents have been sent to the river. So these are the main sources for these rivers to get polluted. So in 1949 the Coom river has got 49 species of fishes in it. In 1979 it has reduced to 25 species, but now there is no species at all. The same thing has happened to Adyar also. So to retrieve these rivers, we have to focus on the actual problem. We can't create a solution and try to fix it. We have to identify the issue and address the actual issue. So the actual issue lies in letting the sewage into the river. So if you take Chennai, for Chennai the metro water is supplying 830 million liter per day of fresh water to the citizens of Chennai. So the people of Chennai are getting water from other sources also, like they are getting water from the private tanker lorries, they are getting from the groundwater. So if you take roughly, there are more than 1 crore people in Chennai. If you consider each person consuming 200 liters per day in an average. So it takes around 2000 liters of water, 2000 million liters of water being consumed in Chennai for one day. So obviously 80% of the water will become sewage. So that means roughly 1800 million liters per day sewage we are getting in Chennai alone. So in this sewage only 550 mld is being treated and recycled by Metro Water. So only two-thirds of the sewage is only one-third of the sewage is treated, and the remaining two-thirds is being sent to the river, that is Kuvam and Adaya. So this is the main reason behind the river pollution. Unless we didn't address this, the actual issue cannot be solved. So government has to take steps regarding this. See, there are encroachments in the river bank. There are people living in the river bank who are letting their sewage directly into the river. That is happening. So we are not we are more focused about those small violations, but government itself making a violation by letting the untreated sewage, that too a huge quantity, into the river Kuvam and Adayar.
On the banks of the Adyar is one of the oldest boat clubs in India, the Madras Boat Club. National and international rowing competitions are held on these sluggish waters. Radhakrishnan, a veteran rower and a member of the Madras Boat Club, said,
"This is Madras Boat Club. This is 155 years old, this club, and the unique feature of this club is that this is the only water body which is in the heart of the city, where the sport of rowing takes place. We used to have a course of 1000 meters from the bridge to the bridge, but then unfortunately with the bridge coming up over Kotupuram and here MRTS, the course has been reduced to about 850 to 900 meters. Now this is the condition it has been for, I mean, as far as I know, but I've been rowing here for about 45-50 years, and the condition has not changed at all. The river is highly polluted, and children take up the sport of rowing at the tender age of 12, and this is the condition in which they are trained, and they row, and then they participate in the junior, sub-junior, national, junior national and national events. It's highly polluted, and something will have to be done. And then the reason is that, you know, the sewage water is constantly let out into the river. Sometimes they come and desilk the river, but that is not going to solve the problem. The whole they have to make arrangements for the sewage water, a separate pipeline, or treat this water and then let it out in the river. Only then will you have a, you know, fairly clean water, because if here if you know the immunity level goes very low when you row, but then over a period of time, since the rowers have no option, this is the place that is available for them to row. This is something where I'm talking to you whether something can be done to ensure that the river is cleaned up, and how it can be done. The only solution that as far as I can see, is that the sewage water will have to be treated and let out, and no sewage water should be let out in this river. It's 155 years old. There has been no change. Okay, there was some, it was somewhat cleaner in those days, but I've been here for the last 50 years, but I've been seeing this water, the same foul smell, and the stench is unbearable and highly polluted. You see, with these weeds, there are more and more. You see, this is a mosquito breeding area.
The biggest problem as of now is the issue of the sewerage system, and it is also the primary reason for river pollution. Even after the formation of the Chennai River Restoration Trust, the development of the rivers is still incomplete.
Responsible person for all this means, if you ask me like that, it is the responsibility of the CMDA. They have miserably failed in giving permission for development in such areas. In the peripheral areas, if you are giving permission for development, you know pretty well that it has no underground sewerage system or a proper water supply system. Then why do you allow them to expand the village as a town and do everything? This development is not at all needed. But if at all development is needed, you have to make a preliminary arrangement for underground sewerage system and water supply. Then only you have to allow the area to be developed into a town or some town panchayat.
So the government has to reframe their structure. See, the sewage problem is there because of the failure of the engineering, and because of the failure of the to take control over the unplanned urbanization. So the city has been expanded to a huge amount.
The government began spending on river restoration in the 1990s and projects were launched several times. Though there has been some progress in recent years, there is still much more to be done. As until and unless these rivers are not restored, the city may face future consequences. And it will be a long time before city residents begin to perceive the river as a valuable water source rather than a drain.